Hola, gents. Another lovely Wednesday evening to talk about the finest in the world of combat. How you guys doing tonight?
Halfway through the week, I'm excited. One day closer to get another UFC card. That's what I'm excited about. Watch the Strickland fights.
Me too. I haven't seen anything ridiculous yet, but the press conference isn't until tomorrow. So that being said, we're in for a good one tomorrow. I can feel it. Out in Australia, but that doesn't change for us. They're staying on American time. So
nice.
No complaints about that for sure.
American dominance.
Kev, how you doing?
Well, I'm glad I don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. to watch a pay-per-view in person, so I'm feeling great too. I tell you what, those overseas sports coverage is no joke, man. It's tough keeping up, as Zach can vouch, because one of the four of us missed a good portion of that last international fight card, didn't we, Zach?
Yes, I did. Thankfully,
gang.
We were on the phone and you reminded me.
I was say it was me. I wasn't going to out you like that. I was just going to make fun of me. But yes, okay. So two of us missed a good portion of that card. What are time zones again?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yep. As those of you that don't know, it was in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, see,
this past week.
The more you know.
Yeah. Card started at 9. Main card started at 12. And there were some great fights. Great fights. Clayton, I remember you saying that you thought this was some good fights.
Yeah, here's my we're gonna start with a complaint. I'm not gonna lie. Gentlemen. For first fight of the night, guy from Egypt, Hamdi Abdelawab, I think is how you say that, versus Jamal Pogues, UFC heavyweight from the US. I bet on Jamal Pogues. I was like, you know what? He's got more experience. I like the plus money on him. Nothing ridiculous. Jamal Pogues proceeds to destroy this guy, in my opinion. Walks him down over the course of all 3 rounds. You could maybe give the Egyptian guy round 1. Other than that, Jamal Pogues all the way. I had it 29-28. And the Egyptian guy walks away with a split decision. And I'm like, all right. Now, I'm just a commentator guy in Ohio. However,
just
some home field advantages there.
Yeah. I'm looking at this fight and I'm like, he outstruck him to the head and to the body. He had 1 minute of control time. Shot 1 takedown. What did this guy do to beat Jamal Pogues? And that got me thinking, because a couple of months ago, they also did a show I think it was in Abu Dhabi. And I bet on, it was another first fight of the night. And they had a Russian dude against I want to say actually might have been from the US. And I was like, you know what? I don't know anything about either of these guys, but Russian, Dagestan, good pick. So I picked this guy who proceeds to get his ass beat for 3 rounds. And he walked away with a split decision W. And I was like, maybe I just need to stop betting on overseas shows, because you never know what you're going to get judging wise.
Yep.
But I will say one prediction that I had that did come true. My boy Terrence McKinney keeping the streak alive. This dude has never seen the 3rd round. Walked away with a knockout in the 1st round. Great performance by him for sure. I was
for sure,
very pleased to see him get a W.
2 minutes in the 1st round.
Yeah, he got on top. That fight could have been stopped about 20 seconds earlier, in my opinion. His opponent just wasn't answering any punches. Like, I can't even pronounce this guy's name. He's from Denmark, but
what did he do? Did he take him down and then McKinley just reverse him and get on top? Is that basically what happened?
Yeah,
I see that he's got 1 takedown for 2 that he tried. Tried 2, only got 1.
He got taken down relatively early, and then You can see the striking. He ended up reversing and just absolutely laid it on him. Threw some 12-6 elbows, which you can do now.
Nice,
Yep.
I like that.
Yes.
Because before we can only do that from the bottom.
Yeah. And that's a major weapon, right? Like if you're standing on top of a dude, you're telling me that a 12-6 elbow wouldn't be useful?
It is, but it's not as much as damaging as those.
I never understood.
Those are more dangerous because they.
I never understood that. Yeah, I never understood that. Like you're like, oh yeah, you can elbow this way, but you can't do it this way because it's more dangerous.
Are they worried about like orbital bones there, guys? Where as far as like if you drop it down on a fragile part of the skull, would that be why? Because I agree with you. Coming from the side, like Zach said perfectly, like your cuts, like you're going to do a lot of damage, at least more visibly, stuff that the judges are going to make a point of. But because otherwise, I don't understand why it would be illegal either, unless they were worried about dropping that hammer
from the soft spot right up here. You got a soft spot up here on the top of your head. Just like, with babies and stuff, they always tell you, like, you don't let your baby lay or something on one side or like smash the head or that because it's soft. Well, as it grows, it hardens, but you still have a soft spot on the top of your head. And that's what they're afraid of, is that coming down and really doing a significant damage to your brain.
But now we're good.
Now we're good, which is I'm happy.
No longer a problem.
We don't care about brains. We're just looking to
brains.
smash heads.
Another big fight that I really enjoyed because I've never seen this happen. Shamil Gaziev. I don't know if that's how you say his name. If that's how I'm going to say his name. I've never seen this guy fight before, and he was like a crazy favorite. He was like minus 360, I think. 350 or 360 to start.
360, yep.
Boom. I am kind of the man. Anyway, Thomas Peterson, the guy he's fighting, he's from Minnesota. And I was like, okay, 9-2, going in 9-2 versus 13-1. This is a solid heavyweight fight. And I watched Gaziev just put him down with a right hand, and Thomas Peterson literally spit his mouth guard out. I've never seen that before in my life. It was
wild.
Threw his mouth guard out, was done immediately.
Ha! That's fine. He even got
Crazy.
the takedown on him.
He got right back up.
8 seconds of control. Yeah.
Took him down, got right back up, over in the first round. We'll see if he's another Sergey Pavlovich, who is also on this card. See if he's just another guy who can punch really hard, but I don't know, man. That was kind of incredible. Obviously, the big boys can sling the leather, but like,
yeah, ooh, that mouth guard coming. Oh man,
I don't even think Francis would put people out cold, but I don't think he ever made anybody spit his mouth guard out.
I think the closest he came was almost decapitating. What's his name?
Alistair Overeem.
Overeem, yeah.
That happened up in Detroit, actually. That was the same night that Eddie Alvarez took Justin Gaethje's soul.
Yeah.
With kneed him in the head. Just, ugh. Justin Gaethje's body just physically rejected wrestling in that fight, and he paid for it.
I know a thing about that.
Speaking of Eddie Alvarez, switching over to just a quick little note, BKFC. He just lost his first loss.
Really?
To Jeremy
Stevens.
Yep. Which, if you don't know who Jeremy Stevens is, the iconic meme of Conor McGregor. Who the fuck is this guy? That's Jeremy Stevens.
Which it sucks that's probably going to be the only thing that anybody remembers him for.
I know.
I love that.
This dude was I wonder if he had 30 UFC fights. He had a ton. Yeah. He was around forever, man.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody is going to care about any of the performance of the night bonuses he got. Just kind of being a guy that might have been on the wrong end of a couple decisions. Nah, nobody's going to care about that. They just care that Conor made him look like an idiot at the height of his popularity.
Yep. Yeah.
I love that line. I would be honest with you. I miss prime Conor. Like not just for the fights.
So does Conor.
Yeah, that's not wrong there. But not just for the fights, but just the pure entertainment he brought to the sport. Like, you don't have that really anymore. Like, he is one of a kind that I hope we get another one or two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to see it. I like that cockiness. I love that everyone hates him because he brings that value to the sport. You know, like Kevin always says, he would make an excellent heel in WWE. He really would.
Yes.
He would make an excellent living doing that for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he was kind of like the Mayweather of MMA world, but he was a little bit more crazy and not. I mean, he is pretty business smart. He's made a crap ton of money, but he also made some very stupid choices.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's the sport is better, I would argue, when Conor is successful. But it's like I think Sugar Ray Leonard might have said it's hard to get out of bed and train in the morning in silk sheets. I think just after the Mayweather fight ruined him. The money got to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was partying a little bit too hard.
Yeah, and once those uppers get their claws in you, man, it's real tough to think straight and think anything other than, oh, I'm the best. And I have a great fucking business idea too, boys. I'm going to tell you about this business idea at 4 a.m. in some stranger's kitchen. Let me tell you all about it. A little too much of that. It's a damn shame.
It is indeed.
Have any of you guys ever actually tried Proper 12?
Yes, it tastes like ass.
Is it bad?
Horrible.
It is.
Horrible.
I refused it once and the salesman cold clocked me. I don't know if that's like a brand.
That's on brand.
I've never actually sat down and tried it, but I walked by it in the store the other day and I was like, should I? Nah, and I just kept walking.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
If it's given to you, sure, but I'm not going to buy it. Let's put it that way.
I did eat one of those Burger King sandwiches, though.
Wait, Burger King sandwich.
You don't remember when he made the worst commercial ever made on an airplane with Burger King?
Oh, no, I need to go back and watch this. I need to go watch
you
this.
do.
Oh, dude, it's worth it.
Yes, you do. Oh, my God, dude. Yeah, legend has it that old Connor did his first little bump after that horrible commercial. He needed to pick me up after how bad that was. That's all made up. That's my head canon, but I'm sticking to it.
No, that makes a ton of sense.
That's great. I love it.
Shoot. Well, rocking into the main event, the main card.
All decisions besides the main event of the evening, which I actually got to see the very last second, thankfully to my man Kevin here while we were on the phone talking. Where I'm like, hey, those fights are at 6. He's like, wait, aren't those at like 2 or something? I was like, oh crap. I'm like, hold on, I'm gonna put those on real quick. And I put it on, and instantly I turn it on, and what I get to see is, boom, there goes Izzy down to the ground. I was like, oh shit. And Kevin's like, what? What's going on? What's going on? I was like, hold on, I'm gonna try to do this the way Kevin does this. I do it, and I'm like, he didn't say anything. He wasn't impressed. I'm not a commentator. Got it.
Zach will, let's put it this way. Zach is more of a Joe Rogan than a John Anik.
Oh
my God! Oh, Zach, oh my God!
Yeah, that's me.
I can feel him grabbing at people that were next to him in the room. Oh my
God! Facts.
Yeah, so we had.
What's that?
I'll go for Wade.
I was gonna say we had Ziam versus Davis first open up the main card. A decision win by Ziam. I think that's how you say his name. Pretty handily. 30-27. Won all 3 rounds and all judges' cards. It's pretty unanimous there.
Yeah.
Then Nurmagomedov versus Oliveira. And can I speak? Nurmagomedov went down, lost a decision, 29-28 to Oliveira.
Tough month for them, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be the first time I've heard of 2 of them losing within 10 years of each other.
Yeah. Because their combined record, they have less than double-digit losses.
With all the guys on that, all the Nurmagomedovs on that team that fight.
And that's crazy. That's just
yeah, it's insane, the dominance. But if you
think that do you just think that means that everybody else is starting to evolve around what their culture that they have started? that people are starting to break their game down more, be able to understand the way that they do it and be able to defend against those things now? Do you think that that's really what's going? It's just the evolution of mixed martial arts?
I think that has something to do with it. There's also more film of them out there now.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? When Khabib came up, I'd never heard of Dagestan.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't even something that I didn't like. If you were like, what country is Dagestan in? I would have been like, bless you, dude. I don't know what you just said. But it's just like Khabib, 29 fights. You're not going to find them all. But he had probably 12 or 13 UFC fights. Same thing with Umar. Umar's got that win over Corey Sandhagen, a couple other ones. Saeed, same thing. He's been around for a little bit. Usman over in Bellator had, like, I think he's 20-0 now, 19-0, 20-0, something like that. Then there's one other one. I don't know where he's at right now, but he also, I think, only has one loss. Same thing with Islam. He's been in the UFC forever. You see him beat guys like Dan Hooker, Bobby Green, Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
There's a ton of film out there now, and I think that definitely helps people.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. And then went to the heavyweight. Boy slinging some leather. Popovich versus Rosenstrike. What do you think of this fight, Clayton? I know you were looking forward to this one too.
This fight irritated the shit out of me for a couple of different reasons. One, both of these guys are like beasts on the feet, right? And I just didn't really see a finish. And I didn't really see much from Jairzinho Rosenstruik, Biggie Boy, which is kind of a funny nickname. So I've always kind of paid attention to him. My other problem with this, and shout out to Pavlovich for just getting a win, right? I think he'd lost his last two. He got in there and did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, I think he was just
last two.
being cautious, getting that win, getting the win column again.
Yeah. And then the UFC cut Rosenstruik after this loss. And
Really?
I'm like, guys, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
This dude, he's one of those guys that could never get over the hump, really. Like let me read off some of his losses here. You got Ngannou. Okay, everybody loses to Francis Ngannou. Cyril Gane, former interim champ. Curtis Blades, title challenger. Volkov, knocking on the door of a title shot. Jonathan Almeida, he just won over. He has a win over Derek Lewis too, like another guy that the UFC is trying to build up. And then he has Pavlovich. It's like these are all quality losses. Why are we cutting a guy that has a bunch of knockout finishes too? He's got 13 knockouts. 13 of his 15 wins are by knockout. I disagree with the decision to cut him.
Well,
And he's only 36. That's baby in heavyweight.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
So, do you know what that just means? That just means another promotion is just going to benefit from this. That's all it's going to mean. Because
Absolutely.
you can see probably PFL probably try to pick them up, or one champion. Those are the two that I see trying to go after someone like this. I mean, why
I
wouldn't
see
you?
the GFL trying to
GFL, I was going to say.
I was just about to say
PFL.
1 year deal, and then he goes into the draft, baby.
Well,
I don't know if
they
this
haven't
is true or
drafted
not,
him
but
yet.
I heard that Patty went to the GFL.
I don't think so. He
I
probably
saw something.
is he? No.
There's no way.
You
the
see that on
UFC would
Twitter,
let him
Wade.
go.
You got to be careful.
You can't,
I don't know.
believe everything you read on the internet, Wade.
Ballsack
I know.
Sports tweeted. No, I'm just kidding.
That was a good one. I like that.
But nah, he's still in the UFC. They're not going to let him go. There's too much money to be made off of him in the UK.
I don't say that. I mean, especially when you hear about how, Conor still has 2 UFC fights on his contract. It's sort of like, I feel like, Patty he's not getting away if there's still fights on his deal. Like Dana's not letting, I mean, again, I think we were just talking about, I don't know. Conor's probably still a draw for at least one more fight, but Dana won't let that go. And it's been how many years since he stepped in the octagon? I'm with you.
Reports
It'll be 4
are
this summer.
reports say that it'll be sometime at the end of this year. Because they've been saying that for how long? It's like, oh well, he'll be in the spring. Oh, he'll be in the summer. Oh, we're gonna get him in the fall. And this is around and around we go. When the heck are we actually gonna get him? And it's like at this point, it's kind of like, do we really want to see him though?
There's also no incentive for them to admit at this age that he's done, right? So even if he is done, he wouldn't tell you.
No.
Yeah, absolutely not.
No, maybe it's just to get all the juice out of him, because Man, hey, I'm just saying he needed some steroids to get back in the for his leg to heal up. I'm sure he used that. And,
Absolutely.
We can see his body. I'm sure his body reacted very well to those steroids that were just for his leg recovery.
Yes, solely
Dude
for
looks
the
like
leg.
Majin Buu, dude. He's pink and bloated all the time.
Thank God he's not asking for chocolate.
Oh, shoot. Moving into the co-main event, which is a pretty good fight. Michael Venom Page versus Magomedov. And, man, Page looked good. MVP looked good. He was keeping him at that distance. He couldn't get in.
Oh, sorry, guys. That's my bad. Yeah, I would like to throw out there that I said on this show, Char Bullet can't box. Crazy. He can't box. He can do Muay Thai. He can kickbox. This dude can't box. What? How do you beat a guy named Mike? How do you beat Michael Venom Page? You gotta do two things. One, you can take him down. Not gonna happen with that guy.
Yeah.
Two, you gotta use your footwork to try and move around this guy because he's light on his feet. He's gonna throw kicks. He's gonna move in and out quick. You gotta have better footwork, and he doesn't. He quite simply doesn't. Page walked away with a decision. I called it. Yeah. Yeah. I saw plus money, and I was like, yeah, let me dump Kevin's credit card on here.
It's about time that was used for a good
great.
investment.
What, Dogecoin get you too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, I'm still riding high on that. I'm still positive.
Someone's got to. No, I'm just kidding.
You can ask Wade. I've been trying to get him to buy that since I don't know, like what, 5 years ago. Wade,
I was like,
I'm like, buy this. I'm telling you, we're going to the moon, baby. We're
Get
going to the
1,000
moon.
shares for 10 cents, dude. Come on.
You know who is going to the moon? Nasruddin Imavov walked away. KO win over Izzy. Only finish on the main card. Gentlemen, I was sad. Not only because we're seeing the fall of a champion, but this was leg 3 of a 3-leg parlay that would have won me $40 off of 5.
Oh,
That was
That's a real tragedy.
Yeah, watching this fight though, I was looking at Izzy. Izzy looked good. Like he looked like he filled out, and he was a lot stronger. He looked good all the way up until that he got caught. And I think thinking back to all the other fights that he lost, it's that straight right or overhand right that really Izzy gets caught with every single time. And then he just turned into like a glass jaw.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I've seen a lot of people be like, Izzy should retire, he's done, there's no reason to. Well, he didn't look bad up until when he got caught. Like, it's not like he's out there getting his ass beat. Like, an example that we can point to, a recent example, Tony Ferguson. Yeah. Tony Ferguson was going out there and getting his ass beat, realistically. Izzy, that did not happen. I had Izzy winning the first round. So I don't know about you guys. I absolutely had Izzy winning the first round. He just, first and foremost, he tried to impersonate Alex Pereira, and that's where he screwed up because nobody's like Alex Pereira. He got kicked low in the second round, was like, no, I'm good. And then Imavov just came back in and put him down. So that's partially on Izzy for trying to be like Alex Pereira. Nobody's like Alex Pereira. Shama. Anyway. But if Izzy wants to keep fighting, I think he should be fine. It's not like he's not getting flatlined. Like, you know what I mean? He's not unconscious on his back staring into the light. Like it was a TKO. Same thing that happened against Pereira. He was still on his feet when the fight got stopped. DDP, he got submitted. Oh, well, happens. It's not like he's in there getting, accruing a lot of damage, taking 3 punches to dish out 1. Like that's not happening. So I think we'll see him again. I think he'll probably have 1 or 2 more fights. I think he's done being a champion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
for sure.
Speaking of that, then, moving on over to the UFC middleweight division. So you think he's done? You don't think that he has any chance, any opportunity whatsoever to get back to gold?
I think it's
I don't.
I don't think so. I think if it does, it's going to be a long grinding road back to it.
Well, he only dropped down to the 5th in the rankings.
Yeah, but he's going to have to fight up-and-comers now and stop their hype. And then once he can get some ball rolling there, then he'll crack some fights up in the top 5 to be able to.
So you think he
do
needs
like
to hang
contender
on?
series.
You think he needs to hang on for like another year or two before he would even get another shot at the belt?
I'm thinking at least another 2 to 3 fights, knocking off some up-and-coming hype.
That's another year to 2 years, depending on how quick you can get in there.
Like Wade said, when you have to start fighting down, it really becomes an uphill battle. Mm-hmm. And looking at the top 5 right now, you got Strickland, Imavov, Chimaev, beneath DDP. So that would leave Izzy at 5. Below him, you got Robert Whitaker. That fight doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. You got Cal Berhilo. He trains at the Fighting Nerds. That's all I know. But
you don't want to talk about Johnny from old Bellator. That's not in existence anymore at rank 7.
Eblin is really ranked 7.
Yeah, Eblin, Johnny Eblin at 7.
The UFC should throw everything they have to try and get Johnny Eblin. We'll start there, I guess. He trains at Extreme Couture, for those of you who might not know. He was like one of the best kept secrets, I would argue, in MMA for a long time.
Man, 16-0.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's an undefeated guy. That's actually a really good fight. I didn't even think about that because he trains at Extreme Couture, and you know who else trains at Extreme Couture? Sean Strickland. So they will have a very they'll have an understanding of what Izzy will do. Eric Nixick's a great coach, but he's coached a guy to beat Izzy. That's huge. I would love to see Johnny Eblin versus Izzy. That makes a lot of sense. I was going to throw Brendan Allen out there. Both guys are coming off a loss. So I was like, okay, maybe you have Izzy fight down to Brendan Allen and see if Brendan Allen can still finally get over the hump to being a true contender. Because he just lost to Imavov like 3 months ago, 2-3 months ago.
Yep.
But gentlemen, the next title shot in the UFC middleweight division, no matter who wins, in my mind, the next title shot goes to Nasruddin Imavov for one reason and one reason only. Khamzat's not allowed in the U.S. There is not a chance in hell the UFC would let somebody who cannot get into the U.S. become a champion. There is no way.
Sense. It doesn't make money sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And granted, I can already hear people, he relocated to Dubai. He's trying to figure it out. Yeah, guess what? He hasn't figured it out yet. He doesn't have the visa yet. Yeah, he's still in the process. So until he's able to get a visa, there's no way he's going to be able to fight for the belt.
That makes sense. Unless if it's such a high demand by fan pressure.
Yeah. Give it some time. I mean, I can maybe see that. Give it another year. And if he's still rolling, I can see some pressure start to come to Dana. A little
Even
bit.
then, because think realistically, you guys are right. Realistically next year, but it's only February. They're going to want whoever has the belt right now to fight at least one more time before the end of the year.
Yeah.
There's no chance he's fighting for the belt this year. I think next is Imavov. After that, probably Khamzat.
I can agree with that hot take.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, because even with some internet pressure, we'll talk about this at the end of the show. Every once in a while, you find out that the opinions of the internet, believe it or not, don't actually correlate to the rest of the world's opinion, because not all of us are chronically online. The proclaimed internet wrestling community learns this one the hard way every once in a while, where they're like, well, this is exactly what should happen. And it's like, well, that's not what the money says, you marks. So again, I would tend to agree with Clayton on this one. Maybe there's a scenario where they could, because then you're trying to book around this one champion. And I know they do international shows, but can you guys imagine the logistical nightmare of saying, this one particular fighter can only defend on our international cards. Like, that's not an easy thing to set up. And for those, like, there's just too much money to be made to say, well, we can't do shows in our own home country with the middleweight champ. So I agree with Clayton for those reasons. I'm not saying it won't get figured out. It likely will, because conversely, if there's money to be made here, there's some wheels that can be greased, I assume, to make that a little bit easier. And, I wouldn't put it past the power and the money of TKO to be like, hey, let's get this guy in here on a visa of some kind. I don't know the logistics of those things. But again, if it's going to make enough money, I agree with you guys that in another year or so, it'll probably happen. But so, yeah, I'm weirdly I guess I'm on the fence. Look at me. No matter what, I'm right, because I agree with both of you. Look at that. That's how it's done,
You got to remember too. So just kind of throwing this in there right now. Yeah, I can see that. But maybe in the future, because you already have Saudi right now is really working on creating a sports environment in their country, period. Like that is what the Crown Prince's goal really is making it a big thing. I don't know if you guys heard, making all those soccer stadiums and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And the money that they're dumping into that, they're dedicated to doing that. Like they work with Dana. So I could see, I don't know maybe how soon, but maybe 5 years, you might be able to see a champion who doesn't have a visa to the United States, because Saudi might have a nice platform for the UFC to host things, kind of like they did in Vegas during the pandemic. It's like they've got, hey, this is just for mixed martial arts. Boom, this is what this is for.
Well, I mean, to play devil's advocate, they probably wouldn't even need to make it just for the UFC, because they already have that deal in place with the other half of TKO, where the WWE used to have specialized Saudi shows. And now in 2026, pardon my French, the fucking Royal Rumble is going to be in Saudi Arabia. And that just really speaks to your point, Zach. I think your timeline's pretty accurate there. It took a little longer than 5 years, I think, for the WWE, but I want to say the first Super Showdown was like 2017, 2018. So here we are 8 years later, and they're getting one of the biggest pay-per-views that the WWE I mean, they just sold out Indianapolis. That pay-per-view just broke records for them, and the next one will be in Saudi Arabia. So, I mean, that does say if there's money internationally, they will go get, because I never would have thought that a WrestleMania or a Royal Rumble would ever be overseas, just because it's a money glitch, right? You don't need to do that, but here we are. Like, if they're making that effort, I could see that, but I agree. I think it's still a few years away before that happens.
Nice. Yeah. Moving on to this weekend. Big card. UFC 312. Duplessis versus Strickland 2.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, that's a pretty good card right here. And I'm can't wait for that main event.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen a lot of talk online where people are like, this is a super thin card. Is it a little thin for a pay-per-view? Yeah, I might buy that argument. But when you look at the guys on here, these guys are going to put on fun fights.
Oh, yeah.
Like Strickland versus DDP1. That was a war. Zhang Wei Li. Every single time she steps in there, it's must-see TV.
Underdog, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. Ridiculous. We'll talk about that. She was on UFC 300 for a reason. She was the co-main event of UFC 300 for a reason. She is going to get in there and she's going to make it fun. Justin Tafa, 7-4. Yeah, guess what? He's going to get in there and make it fun.
Yep.
And the guy he's fighting, this is really interesting. This is his first real UFC appearance. And he's on a pay-per-view main card.
Crazy. Well, he's 6'7", 259 pounds. He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's a big dude. He's
reach 83.
There is no chance that fight is going the distance, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely not.
You got Jimmy Crute. Most people, he's been out of the cage for about 18 months now. He actually retired after UFC 290 at the age of 26. I think he was 26 at that time. He's 28 now. People forget that this guy was once called by ESPN the best fighter under 25. He is good. He is going to continue to be good. And then to open the main show, you have Jake Matthews. he's an Australian guy. The show is in Australia. They are not going to put a guy that they are trying to build in a show in his home country where the UFC doesn't think he'll dominate. That is 100% my thought there. And then just looking down here, this is kind of funny. You have Volkanovski versus Topuria too, kind of. So Topuria has an older brother who's making his UFC debut, so Topuria is going to be his corner. And then Colby Thickness trains with Volk, so Volk is going to be in his corner. Thickness is the greatest last name of all time.
That is Thickness.
Absolutely incredible.
Gets me every time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But just looking at this card, is it a little thinner than I'd like a pay-per-view to be? Yeah. But at the same time, the main card will sell this. There's going to be nothing but finishes here.
And it's a double-edged sword a little bit, but Clayton, I'm with you there. Like, to me, when I try to think of it beyond just the original, like just the event itself, and just try to think about what's best for the sport in general, I feel like that's what you want sometimes with cards. You want a marquee matchup or two, because again, like you mentioned, the co-main should be excellent. And then what is wrong with filling that with a lot of up-and-comers, like the future talent of the sport? Like, otherwise we keep talking about earlier, we want the next Conor. We don't get that chance if we just watch the same 12 people fight every pay-per-view. So while yes, I can understand putting together a mega card, and especially for something like 300, where it's like, well, yeah, if we could stack this head to toe with names, sure. But otherwise, it's either you get away from the fight night model, and then you say, okay, Adesanya is not going to be headlining on a fight night. We're going to put him into the mid card. But I don't know that does anything for your brand to take a main event talent and then just put him in the mid card. I think it's better off this way. More opportunities for the guys and the gals out there to make a name for themselves. And maybe I don't know. A thin card, I think, to me, is just more of a feedback at the pricing model of UFC pay-per-views than it is actually being upset at the cards. I think sometimes it's hard to justify your year subscription and then another whatever $80 on top, but it's going to be worth it if you do pony up for it, I assume.
Yeah,
just make them $50, Dana. Chill out, bro.
Yeah.
Quit putting it on a subscription model. Pick one. You can have one. Either I can subscribe for it for the year, or I'll pay you per event. But quit. You're not going to get it both ways anymore. Just cut it out.
It's ESPN. ESPN keeps setting the price. Shut. You can
Go
figure it out.
Yeah,
You can
HBO
figure
Max
it out.
is clearly dying for any form of quality content on their platform. Go to HBO, dude. They will. Goddamn. Okay, anyone to do anything.
What's on HBO that's going to be so great?
I would love to know.
Well, you know what?
Enlighten me, please. I'm curious, because the last I heard, there's supposed to be some big fight on HBO. The fight of the century.
Epic fight of the century between the Paul brothers with a poster and all. Wouldn't you know it, gang? That is just going to be a cheaply produced reality TV show.
Another one?
HBO right on time, right? 2025
reality TV show.
They're still doing
That's
road
just
rules,
what
right?
the viewer was craving, man.
Jersey Shore, that's still popular, right? We love, first of all, put this on TLC if you really wanted to do numbers, boys.
You're not wrong.
Max, come on. We have a whole channel. We have a whole network designated for this kind of slop, and you're going to HBO Max. Well done. Good on you. At least you didn't scam your audience one more time. At least that's good. You can always count on the Paul brothers for a good scam.
True.
Yeah, they irritate my soul.
Wait. Which brothers do you think scam more? The Pauls or the Tates?
Oh, that's honestly, I would pay.
They're better at it.
If we're talking straight boxing, I'd pay $50 to watch Jake box Andrew and Logan box Tristan. I would.
Yes.
I would. 100%. Are you kidding me? Oh,
I
yeah,
would
watch
too,
that.
but I would pay extra money to have like a ringer or a special guest referee that gets to knock out the winner. Like I'm thinking
Of
like
course you would.
like what is it, Rocky 3, Rocky 4? Like I want, when Rocky and Apollo kind of knock each other out simultaneously. That's all I want. If they are all getting knocked out, I don't want to see it.
That's Rocky
No one
2.
can be standing. Rocky 2.
Rocky
Thank
2.
you. There we go.
We'll have it a tag team boxing match.
That'd be so funny. Oh my gosh. I watched that crap for the first time on the Logan. I'm a little disappointed in myself for admitting this, actually. But we worked a show the day Logan Paul boxed Dylan Dennis. And I remember they opened it up with a tag team boxing match. And I remember sitting here like, what am I doing? Why am I wasting my Saturday?
Hey, you know what? Okay, I don't like that. But I'm going to be honest with you. I do like watching the Russians do like 5v5, or I just watched one that was a 10v10 MMA match. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I like watching this. I'll watch it. I don't know if
That
I
one
haven't-
makes all the sense in the world to me. Yeah.
It's a street fight. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's put these hooligans in soccer jerseys and just set them out there, because then we'll get one hell of a show.
I have a clip that I'm going to watch probably for this channel, actually. Spoiler alert. It was an MMA Royal Rumble with a bunch of different weight classes, but it was done like sumo or wrestling style, where there was just a giant square, and if you got pushed out of bounds, you were out. And then it got down to the last two, but it wasn't still a traditional fight at that point. Your goal was still just to push the other guy out. But yeah, I see some of these things. I've seen people in water fighting on top of a trailer, like a truck trailer.
Those are good. Those are
And I'm
good.
just like, dude, I could kind of watch this all day.
The more dangerous, the more
I
fun
forgot
to
to
watch.
message you two about it. I was like, hey, I think we got room for this. I think it's sanctioned in Alabama if we want to try to do it.
Hey, my parents have a pond. We can figure it out.
Hey, there we go.
Hey, I got it. Kevin, we need to we'll do a new segment out of this where we highlight odd and new combat sports.
Dude, the wild
I'm
world of MMA, dude. I've got
New
clips
show,
for
new-
days, bro.
New show, new podcast idea. You let me know when you guys are ready. We'll get it fired up here on Carnage Media.
First thing we got to do is car jitsu, because that shit is the funniest thing. I've ever
Oh
seen.
my
Wow.
gosh!
With the
Yeah.
seat belt,
Yeah.
they have to be built. Yeah, that or
Yeah.
the phone booth, a literal
The
phone
phone
booth.
booth. I love
Phone
the phone
booth
booth
is a
one.
good
That's
one,
my
yeah.
style of fighting right there. Come on, let's go, baby. Let's do it.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, I know. To bring it back, let's do a little bit of predictions here.
Strickland.
Pain.
Strickland.
I'm on a rocky
What?
kick now.
Are we not on that one yet? Strickland.
No,
No,
we're
let's
not on
start.
that
We're
one
starting at the top.
Strickland.
yet.
All right.
Yeah.
Why? Hit me.
Because he's got no quads.
That's true.
Yes.
That is biologically true. Yes.
But
No, I
interested.
just see Strickland kind of coming in there this time. I mean, last fight they lost. He lost to a decision, split decision, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Correct.
It was a nice stand-up fight, and I think that Strickland is just I don't know. I feel like he's going to go in there and reinsert himself. I don't know. I feel like he's going to take center stage, center ring, and he's going to try to dictate this a little bit more. He's going to apply a little bit more of that pressure that he does, which is just come straight forward in his awkward stance and ways that he does it. Just okay. We'll stay
Straight up.
stiff and straight up because his tech. I mean, most people I sit there and shame him for the way he does it, but I mean,
Yeah.
he makes it work for him, and that's the beautiful thing about the art of fighting is what works for me doesn't work for Wade. What works for Wade doesn't work for Clayton. What works for Clayton doesn't work for Kevin. All vice versa. We're all different. Our bodies all work a little bit differently. So I like seeing the strange, I guess, bad technique almost. Prevent.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I like to see it. And
Speaking of bad technique, DDP's technique is horrible too.
Yeah.
I was watching a clip of Izzy and Whitaker. They're talking about how DDP's technique is just atrocious, but it works because it's like, I don't know. It's just strange how he fights, but it works for him. But
It's like the classic. You can't stop what I'm doing because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's the amateur poker player at the table full of pros, and they're like,
Yeah.
I don't know what this guy's doing because he'll bet with whatever, and I'm trained on how to bet someone who knows what they're doing, and I can predict your next move. But when, like Clayton said, when you don't even know what's coming, how am I supposed to predict it?
Right. Well, I'm gonna tell you this: no one's got worse technique than Ronda Rousey with her boxing. So,
dude,
no
but Joe Rogan told me that her striking was insane. I think he used a word I'm not allowed to say publicly, but she's got
whatever
redacted punch speed, dude. Remember how?
Yeah,
how
it was
awesome
super stiff when she was throwing like this in the promo video, and I remember looking over at Wade, and I go, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
How dare you speak ill of the Diamond Targaryen or whatever that guy's name was?
All I gotta say is stick with judo there, Roundup, because your stand-up game is garbage, and that's why you got your ass handed to you by Holly Holmes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She literally kicked your head off the continent of Australia.
I remember watching that fight. I remember watching that fight, and I look back at Gary and I go, I should have bet on this fight. Like I should have bet on this fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
nothing I love more than screaming at a concussed fighter to move their head more. It's like, bro, she is a pincushion. Just shut up.
It's like the classic get up. Like,
hey, that works. Stop. That actually works. All right. That won me a belt. So stop that. That won me a belt. Okay. Gary yelling at me while I'm pinned up against Robinson. Yeah, because he took me down 3 times. Each time I just hear Gary, get up. Just get up. You'll win. Just get up. All right, get up. Take me down again. Get up. You win. All right, up. Take down again. Get up. You win. I'm like, how many times do I have to get up?
Like a Greek tragedy, man.
I know.
Well, the famous words of
up the hill eternally.
And the famous words of Black Beast. Jiu-jitsu's not real. Just stand up.
Real. But I would like to throw out there, I am also going with Sean Strickland. Not for any of the technical reasons. Yes, they had a first close fight. My logic for picking Sean Strickland is because he fights best when his back is against the wall. Example, Israel Adesanya. Nobody thought he could win that, including me. I thought he would get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. He delivered a 5-round ass beating. Happens, right? You could look at that as kind of an outlier. Not true. Against Abus Magomedov, they were trying to build him up. He's German. There aren't a whole lot of German UFC guys in the UFC right now. Ended up knocking him out in the second round. Made him look human. Nobody had done that in the UFC yet. That was, I believe, his second UFC fight at that point. Nasruddin Imavov, after a close loss to Jared Cannonier, he stepped up on short notice at 205. Got the job done. Jack Hermanson beat him via split decision. Not a split decision, but we can move on from that. Brendan Allen, Jack Marshman is who I was thinking of. He beat him UD. Brendan Allen, same thing. Took a fight on 2 weeks' notice. Ended up walking away with a knockout victory. Sean fights best when he's either on short notice or when his back's against the wall. Right now, I think his back's against the wall. He knows that he's going to have to start fighting down. He's in kind of the same boat as he is. Yeah. He's going to have to start fighting down if he wants to get back into the title if he loses this fight. Mm-hmm. So I'm going with Sean Strickland, UD. I don't see him stopping Drickus. His big problem is he's going to have to get that right hand going. You can't jab and teep your whole way to a UD in a championship fight when you're not the champ. Yeah. You got to get the right hand going a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I agree. I think if he imposes his pressure a little bit more, I mean, they're both known for their pressure and go moving forward. Strickland, the last one, moved backwards more than I've seen him in the other fights.
Pressure.
But I thought he won that. I thought he pulled that decision off. And I think he pulls it off too. I'm going Strickland on this. I think he imposes his will a little bit more, like cornering a rabid animal and he's just gonna come out swinging.
Yep.
And I feel like he has like a lot more hate for him now, and I feel like the psycho's gonna come out. That's a real thing in fighting. Like, I'm excited for the press conference tomorrow. I'm not gonna lie. That should be fun. When
My only real jaw-dropping moment ever, like where I was like, "Oh shit, I can't believe he actually said that," was when Drekus said, "Dude, you think your dad beat the crap out of you? Wait until I get in there." And I was like, "Oh, all right, I guess. All right,
your
we're going
daddy
there
give
now.
you that
Cool.
trauma. Wait till I get in there." And I'm like, oh. Ooh, okay.
Can he say that? Like that's what Sean.
Yeah,
That's what Sean Strickland in the room. I was like, damn, dude, I didn't know. I've never heard anybody go like not. Oh, the only other guy I've heard go that far is Colby Covington. That's
only other one
to be expected, I guess. There, but
Yeah, he got a lot of hate for that though too. So.
yeah, nobody likes Colby Covington. Simple.
Well, he's trying to be better now. He's trying to be Mr. Nice Guy. He's not. He doesn't want to be the heel anymore.
He was too busy. He was too busy helping Donald Trump get elected to train. So that's why he lost to Joaquin Buckley. That is the only reason why.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Colby needs to learn the difference between hot heat and go home heat, which, sometimes you can piss people off in a way that makes them want to pay to see you get knocked out, or you can piss people off in a way that just has them just out of sight, out of mind. Don't want to see it. Don't want to deal with it anymore. But to throw my hat in the ring, as much as I would love to be a contrarian here, guys, I am also going to pick Sean Strickland. And Wade touched on it a little bit. I think that he has a desire to right what I believe was a wrong, and that he knows that obviously I can't leave this one in the judge's hands. And I think that he is going to come out, as you guys have put it, like a caged animal. But even more importantly than that, as a Frenchman, I cannot support someone with a French-ass name like Drakus Duplessis, who is from South Africa, of all places. So, je ne t'aime pas, Drakus. Strickland all day, second-round knockout.
Speaking French? Are we speaking French over here?
Yeah.
Second-round knockout. Okay. Let's move on to the co-main event. Who you got, Clayton?
So, I have Zhang Weili. Another very simple pick in my mind. She has Tatiana Suarez is going to be a champion one day.
Not now.
She will. Not now. You can't, in my mind, you cannot beat Zhang Weili with only 11 pro MMA fights. She's too good. She has so much championship experience. She's had the belt twice now. She's been in some of the craziest fights of all time. Like her fight against, who was it? Wasn't Joanna Jędrzejczyk. It was another one.
She's been in 14 title fights since 2016, just to say.
It was Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She had the fight of the year against Joanna Jędrzejczyk. That
was insane fight.
Yeah. She has too much championship experience in my mind. Plus, she's also, I saw a video of her picking up Princess Ngannou one time, and I was like, damn.
She only has 4 fights in the UFC that weren't for titles, just so you know.
Yeah, I believe that. She fought Joanna again, and then her first 3, and then immediately jumped into a title fight.
Yeah.
Kev, who you got? I'm with you on this one. I touched on a little bit earlier in the show. I cannot believe one of the few times, maybe not, maybe this is becoming more regulars. Weren't we talking about this just not that long ago? Like, how often do you see the champ as the underdog in a fight? And this one really feels unearned to me. That, like, for all the reasons you guys just said, here is someone with the champion pedigree going up against, granted, a number 1 contender who is great, but still, it's just sort of like the favorite. Seriously, 11 fights in. So I'm sticking with the champ, man. This is one of those you're gonna have to show me before I'm gonna bet against her. Like, I'm gonna have to see her lose before I'm gonna believe that's that she's on any kind of downswing here.
Okay. Zach, who you got?
Well, it's going to be China over USA on this one, boys. That's just how it's
and only on this one.
And only on this one. Yes, please.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, she just has too much experience in this. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen her in dog fights. We've seen her in some straight dog fights. So, and going 5 rounds in those dog fights, and that's just to be in a dogfight for 15 minutes, but to do it for 25 minutes and to only have 4 fights in your entire like how many fights has she actually had in the UFC, not including this one? 10. 11. She's had 11 fights, and only 4 of them have not been for a title. And then on top of that, going back to 2016, you can add another 7 titles that she's done. This woman is just tailored for a championship fight at this point. With the amount of experience that she has, and nothing in this sport can beat experience. So that is exactly why I would have her any way, shape, or form, because she's battle tested. She can go all 5 rounds, even if she's bleeding a little bit, So that is why I have her, because right now she is going against a young pup that doesn't know what she's going up against.
Okay. Well, you guys suck.
Oh,
I'm all about USA.
All right.
I'm going Tatiana.
Nah, I'll buy that.
Hear me out. Everyone, doesn't believe like in Tatiana. She wrestled all her life. She wrestled to be in the Olympics.
Here we go.
Oh,
Mr. Wrestler. The wrestler.
Look at this
the female Kurt Angle. I get it. Okay. Tatiana Lesnar. Go on. So she really is Kurt Angle.
She broke her neck. She wasn't able to go back to wrestling. Ended up getting her fused. Got cancer. She found jiu-jitsu. Got cancer. Ended up fighting and beating cancer. Came back. Went to the UFC. And she's no slouch. Some of the names. Grasso. Esperoza. Nunes. De La Rosa. Jessica Andrade. Submitted. She's got some pedigree there.
Damn, you guys. He's kind of convincing me a little bit.
Only 11 fights worth, though.
Yeah,
but one of 12 fights, you have to count cancer, Zach. That's 12.
I don't think it matters, because I think she
put cancer into submission. God damn it!
Battles in the Olympics, like she's had those high value.
Okay, I get that.
That does something for
you. Got to
remember,
you got to put it together. Wait, I can wrestle just by myself. That's fine. But you want me to start doing stand up and wrestle together? Then we got some problems here. And you're talking about going against probably one of the most decorated women athletes in UFC history. I understand where you're coming from. To me, experience is just key in this. It is for me.
I beg to differ. Hot take, Tatiana, new champ.
It's not a hot take because she's favored.
Yeah,
the hot take is the rest of us.
So hot, Las Vegas.
Yeah, even now.
That is complete and utter bullshit that she is favored right now, or even money, depending on what sportsbook you look at. That is garbage. That is absolute garbage. How are you not going to have arguably the best women's fighter right now, pound for pound? The only other person who might be it is Shevchenko. That's pretty much it. Kayla Harrison hasn't done enough in the UFC yet. But I don't get how you can have her as not the favorite. I don't understand that.
I will second that. I don't know how she is even or the favorite with Weili's pedigree.
Yeah, it's almost disrespectful,
It is.
Damn,
awesome.
Like what? What is going on? Vegas is trying to make some money.
This is the only time you guys will ever hear me pick China over America in anything, by the way. This is it.
Second.
The only time.
Wade knows that one for sure.
This, and honestly, guys, if I'm being real with you, table tennis, and we just don't hold a candle.
No. We just haven't had enough time yet.
Other than that, I'm with you.
Forrest Gump. We got Forrest Gump, right?
We do.
Real.
We do.
Real thing. Really.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Speaking of wrestling, let's rock it into the wrestling minute.
Oh, you mean everyone's favorite minute?
We did make it.
The wrestling minute.
Made it.
I've heard some crazy things going on here. People were mad because people got thrown out before they're supposed to. You've got you got all kinds of internet stars jumping in there now, being thrown and all kinds of stuff. So give us a little bit of a shakedown here. I'm going to probably butt in because I got some questions and some of this crap here.
I will say this. I got 2 out of my 3 predictions correct, and I say 3 because no one gave a shit about the tag team titles match, so I'm not counting that. Of course, I didn't predict that because who cares? No one cared. That's just my opinion. But the Rumble, you got a little bit of everything, and the fans, at least the ones that are old enough to drive home from the arena, did not enjoy a lot of it. So, of course, as we predicted here, maybe not on this segment of this show, but as I had announced before, I thought, Charlotte Flair, it's been announced that she's coming back. She is tied with her dad for the most titles in wrestling history, I guess. Very convoluted with this stuff, but she has 16 titles. She comes in and, of course, wins the Royal Rumble. The fans hate it. They hate having the established star come in. She had been injured. I think she tore her ACL or something. They don't care. She shows up on Monday Night Raw to cut a promo, gets booed out of the building like she's Hulk Hogan. They are just sick of her, dude. They are like, we are tired with you. You Nepo baby. We don't want to see it anymore. Get out of here. We're not interested. Doesn't matter how many plastic surgeries we have. We can still see you. We can still tell that is you. And they were not having it at all. And then we get to the championship match, which was some amazing storytelling. Cody Rhodes beat Kevin Owens in a visceral match, a ladder match, lots of blood, not in the gross, like Carney way with the glass light tubes and all that stuff, but it was still very, they did a lot. They did a lot of spots, some stuff you wouldn't believe. Seeing them powerbomb people through ladders and off of tables and all kinds of stuff, and set up an interesting story that would be paid off on Monday night when Sami Zayn did not interfere. So Cody Rhodes retained, and Kevin Owens, ever the jealous. Never trust a guy named Kevin. I'm just saying, we're a little ill-tempered. We can just really snap on you out of nowhere, much like Kevin Owens did to Sami Zayn because Sami didn't cheat to help him win. So now, best friends going back about 20 years to Ring of Honor. They're finally potentially going to have a WrestleMania program. So for the behind the scenes, like if you're just a fan of the boys and you've watched these guys go from wrestling in high school gyms together 20 years ago to think that they are finally going to get to work a program together for WrestleMania, that's pretty cool. I'm very excited about that. And that was where my excitement ended, gang, because we got to the Royal Rumble, where the marquee position, right, the prime cream of the crop entrant is entrant number 30. You've been waiting an hour and a half to see all these people come out. Does anyone care to guess who the final entrant in the Men's Royal Rumble was this year?
Your favorite, Logan Paul.
The megastar. Logan Paul was entrant number 30. IShowSpeed came out, which I get these things. Someone asked me about this on a different program. They were new to wrestling, and they said, Kevin, is this a normal situation to have just a random celebrity come into a WWE pay-per-view? Yes, absolutely. Pete Rose is in the goddamn Hall of Fame. This is nothing new. Since the 80s, there have been musicians, movie stars, whatever. If there is somebody that would convince any single American to go buy a ticket at a show, the WWE is willing to have them there. It's been NBA players in the 90s. Mike Tyson was in D-Generation X at one point. We got Dennis Rodman, known child predator Karl Malone. All of these people have been at one point or another used to sell tickets. So having IShowSpeed in the Royal Rumble makes a ton of sense because anybody 15 years or younger knows who that guy is, and they might watch just because of it. The boys, however, let IShowSpeed know exactly how welcome he was when Rick Steiner's former linebacker, I think running back, a college football player who is advertised at running the rings at about 23 miles per hour. That's definitely kayfabe. He's not Tyreek Hill fast, but he's pretty damn fast. He broke IShowSpeed in half with the spear.
I saw that clip,
which was by far the most satisfying moment of the entire Rumble, I think, for all fans. So we had that. But to get into the final, we've talked about before. We had everyone's favorite retired MMA fighter, CM Punk, was in there. Roman Reigns was in there. Seth Rollins. You had Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn. All of these folks had WrestleMania ties. There were a bunch of different dream matches. People forget CM Punk has been gone for 10 years. There are people that kayfabe and in real life that don't like him very much, that a lot of us would be willing to pay money to see that and to see the storyline play out. But instead, they had, how did I buried the lead? Probably because I can't see him. John Cena in his final Royal Rumble was also there. But instead, the decision was to hand the victory to every child's favorite wrestler. Admittedly, like, this is fact for sure. This guy is completely over. He can't work worth a damn. Jey Uso, the Yeet Man himself, is your 2025 Royal Rumble champion. This is what I was talking about before, guys, when I said, sometimes the internet isn't right because, again, no one who pays their own bills is happy about this decision. There are no adults that are like, oh, hell yeah, dude. The dude whose only promo is having the crowd say yeet. He can't work worth a damn. We can't wait for him to main event WrestleMania. But everybody who hasn't hit puberty yet loves the shit out of it. And those are the people who get their parents to buy merch. Those are the people who want WWE stuff for Christmas. They want it for their birthday. They want that $400 make-believe title. They want that overly expensive. I want the Philadelphia Eagles title belt, man. Like, that's great. I'll spend $400 on that. But that's, again, so it was a money decision. They put that over their better storylines, which I think would have helped them sell more WrestleMania tickets. But here we are. You can't, if you don't understand why he won, then you don't understand the business, which is fair. Like, you could just be a fan. That's fine. And so as much as I hate it, I completely understand why they did it. But I haven't left a major pay-per-view, feeling that let down, honestly, since Vince McMahon was in charge. It's been a minute.
I thought John Cena was going to win it, and then right there at the end, he gets kicked on out and on out of the ring.
I was in the same boat as you. I was like, okay, it's his last year. This like half makes sense, I guess, if you want him to walk away with it. I get it, and I was a little disappointed, I guess, because like in my head, he was the only guy I had pictured to win it.
Yeah, same. I saw a thing. I think it was Drew McIntyre. Did he get thrown out when he wasn't supposed to be?
So he got thrown out when he was supposed to be, but wouldn't you know it, Logan Paul was hot dogging a bit. He took too long for his part, and he and LA Knight were in the way. So what should have happened, Logan had just done a move, and he was dancing and drawing attention, and you can see LA Knight behind him, like waiting for his cue. Sorry to break kayfabe for those, if there's any young fans watch, but you can see him. He's like, okay, fucking turn around, dude, because your spot's over. And what is supposed to happen, if you notice Royal Rumbles, a lot of times you'll see guys just kind of hanging out in the corner. It's because there's a spot coming. There's an elimination that is pertinent to a storyline that's going to be told. So it's time, and that would allow folks like me, the commentators, you're trying to suspend disbelief. So you have to talk about what you're seeing as if it's a sporting event. So when two guys are still fighting each other when they're not supposed to be, you can't just not talk about it. So here you are, you got the commentators talking about LA Knight and Logan Paul. And what was supposed to happen is while Drew was getting an elimination, Damian Priest comes up behind him and eliminates Drew, and that's going to set them up for their WrestleMania rivalry. It was going to be a big moment with the cameras drawn on it and with the commentators saying, by God, doing the Jim Ross, like, oh, what a heinous act. Can you believe Drew McIntyre just dumped on his ass like that? But instead, they're talking about Logan Paul. And so the cue was missed. And yes, so the reports are Drew McIntyre came in the back and was saying, blah, 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 all this work down the drain because somebody had to get their spots in. Now, it was not reported who that was, but we can all watch the tape. We know the two people were involved. So he's either mad at LA Knight, a consummate professional who didn't get his big break until he was 39 years old, someone who's been in the industry since longer than I've had no hair on my head, or it was the prick who has to spend a month choreographing all of his matches, who doesn't really belong in the industry, but he has heat because, he's a known scammer. And so he gets booed and he's got a lot of popularity with the 12-year-olds. I'll let you guys guess who you think fucked it up. So there was that. Oh shoot, I had something for you guys, but I am forgetting it now at the moment. Zach, you said you had some thoughts or some questions about this. You got anything for me?
We've been pretty much answering all my questions already. I mean, I'm just sitting here like, all right, okay, I don't even ask him anything right there. He's answering them for me. I mean, like I said, the only thing I was disappointed in was my boy, Cena not winning the belt.
And thank you for mentioning John, because that's what brings it back. So behind the scenes, I think there's a big desire for a lot of us to see John Cena win number 17. And that is because the current record holder for the most world championships is Ric Flair. And after losing the Royal Rumble, John Cena cut what I would call a worked shoot promo where he announced that because he's John Cena, because he's a 16-time champion, he's worked for 25 years, he said, guess what? I'm not going to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. I'm putting myself in it. I think I've earned that, which is the next match, the next pay-per-view where the winner gets the other guaranteed spot at WrestleMania. So he's just saying, I'm one of the 6, eat it. But one of the reasons he cuts this passionate promo about his time here, the history behind it, but he said something very specific. He said, I will win my 17th, and I will do so not for me, but so that I can shake the hand of the person who wins the 18th. And I think there was a little bit of truth to that, because as we on this program have had a lot of fun at Ric Flair's expense, because he is unfortunately a drunk old man who has kind of embarrassed himself and his co-workers. The last time I saw Ric Flair, he was cussing out a manager at a pizza place in Gainesville. That's the last time I saw him on my television.
Sounds fun.
So
that's the only place it could happen to, is Central Florida. That makes all the sense in the world. What other state could that possibly have happened?
100%. So I think a business decision, the WWE would rather have John Cena, a guy who's still relevant. He's in Budapest shooting another movie for Hollywood right now. I think they'd much rather him be the first name you see when you look at most championships all time. And I for that reason, I believe he will win the Elimination Chamber. But it's funny, even the guy, like even CM Punk, a guy who's known to go into business for himself, kind of went public on, like, I thought it should have been Cena, right? Like, what, he didn't say I thought it should have been me. He's like, I thought it should have been Cena. So maybe they'll turn it all around. But I mean, it's just you thought decisions like this might have been over after the Vince era, but no, here we are. He's Daniel Bryan without any of the talent, just the same stolen catchphrase instead of yes, it's yeet. I mean, I could go on forever, but the kids will love it, and that will breed a future generation of wrestling fans, and that's good for everybody involved. So I can't wait to see what AEW does tonight on Dynamite. Maybe we'll talk about that program once on this show. I doubt it, but we might. I'll try.
Tony Khan's trying his best, man.
Yes. Tony Khan needs to take some of that same advice we've given to Connor. All right.
Yeah,
some of that booger sugar alone, huh?
Booger sugar.
No more late nights, Tony.
Well, I think that wraps things up for today's podcast. Clayton, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at cscalina12. I'm going to be tweeting about the fights while I'm working hockey on Saturday. So make sure that you guys are following me on there. And, of course, follow my podcast, the Hot Take Sports Podcast, at Hot Take Sports 16. A lot of stuff happened in the NBA this week that I'm sure Kev will talk about in one of his shows. So make sure to tune in and get your updates. Kev, where can the people find you?
That is right, Clayton. You can find me on Bite Size Sports talking about Luka Doncic's new home and Kyle Kuzma joining the Bucks. Won't that be fun? That was an interesting trade. I can't wait to break that one down. Also, right after this, if you're a Star Wars fan, I'll be on our sister station Dweeb with my buddy James, where we are ranking our favorite Sith characters. Last week we did the Jedi. This week we are ranking the bad guys. So if you're interested in being nerdy with us for a while, hop on over to Dweeb. That's 2 D's. The first D is silent. Don't worry about it. Zach, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find us anything with Carnage Media. Carnage Media PPV on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter /X, whatever the heck you want to call it. And obviously here on YouTube, where you can catch all of our past fights and stuff that we have covered. You can also check us out on our website at carnagemediappv.com. All our upcoming events will be posted there, as well as any articles that Kevin deems worthy to present to you guys. So,
Yes. Yep. And
That's
for
right.
me, for me, obviously the same. Catch us here, Carnage Unleashed, Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. And we have some shows. We have some shows coming up, so go to carnagemediappv.com to find your latest news on what we're going to be working on this year. So thank you guys for watching. Adios.
See ya.
If we go to 7:30 a.m., we need Carnage coffee or something. We got to
Ooh,
brand it.
I like it. We're branding it.
That's
Have a good
trademark. TM. That's a verbal trademark.
Yep.